You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Ayurvedic medicine is one of my absolute true loves and passions in natural health. I was fortunate enough to be able to meet my mentor many, many years ago, who really introduced me to the finer principles of Ayurvedic medicine. From there, I was able to go deep on it, study overseas, traveling many times to India, traveled to this beautiful island of Sri Lanka, and also studied in Ayurveda in the Netherlands in a functional medicine practice as well. So my, education comes from books, of course, but also there's nothing like that hands-on practice. And one thing I wanted to share with you today is there's a lot of people out there, and this is a Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday show, but there's a lot of people out there looking to transform their body. They're looking to finally lose the weight, but hopefully also keep it off for good this time. What Ayurveda teaches us is this, that there's a reason why you gain the weight, and there's also then a reason why you'll be able to rebalance the body and take it off for good. That is what I hope to share with you. So it's very unique to Ayurveda as well. You don't hear these things a lot in modern day, as we'll say, weight loss-based programs, because in the short term, they don't seem like that much, but it's in the long term that they don't allow people to keep accumulating all of the body fat, and they actually use the body fat as fuel instead of for what we look at as survival-based situations. So I want to bring with you 7 Ayurvedic principles today. The 7 that I felt you may not be using right now in your life, but if you do, they'll absolutely make a dramatic change. So the first 3 have to do with this principle of flushing. I was going to make the whole podcast today just about this principle of flushing. But what I wanted to do was share it as how it's part of an overall picture. We know nutrition is such a big part of losing weight, but it's very different in Ayurveda, meaning that they're not trying to deprive you of any of those tastes. So Ayurveda is big on the 6 tastes, and I'm not going to go through the 6 tastes today. But what they say is, if for too long you eliminate a fruit, or you eliminate a carbohydrate, or you eliminate certain types of fat, or you eliminate protein, your body's going to crave it in the long run. So whatever diet you're on right now, it's going to falter. That's the problem, but it's also, that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. And that's why I know we can get short-term results doing fad-based diets. But it's not what I want for you. What I want for you is the short-term, but also long-term results. Meaning I want you to finally find something that sticks, that works. So these are principles that I incorporated in our new Fatlocity system. Fatlocity is our not just nutritional supplement formula to boost metabolism. By the way, 25 clinical research studies went into that. But it's not just about that. It's an entire system. So Fatlocity is a system, and I incorporate many of the things that I'm talking about here today. So let's just go through them, and I'll start to walk you through them. So the first 3, keep in mind, these are principles around flushing the body. I will make sense of that by the time we get to number 3. So the first one is this. When you wake up in the morning, it's not just an old wives' tale. When you wake up in the morning, you actually want to begin the flushing process. Think about this. Overnight, or let's just say by 8 o'clock at night, you stopped all your liquid intake. Okay. By 8 o'clock in the morning, you've gone a half a day without any fluid, half a day without any water. Think about that. Even if you were to drink your first drink at 6 o'clock in the morning, you've gone 10 hours, right? Or how many hours is that? 10 hours, yes. So 10 hours without water. You need to wake back up the digestive system with fluid, but you also have to start flushing the liver, flushing the kidneys, flushing the lymphatic system, and bringing more fluid to the blood. The blood's 90% water, at least the plasma. So what we need to do is hydrate that body. Too many of us are forgetting the hydration-based step. Hydrate your body. There's almost nothing more critical to weight loss than hydration. If you are not hydrated, the body's going to look to other areas to begin to compensate. Hydrate. So what we recommend is this. I go through the very specific weight loss water drink per se inside of the Fatlocity course and system, which comes with Fatlocity, but I want to give everybody a head start. So here's the thing. Start your day with warm water, not cold water. No matter what you heard before about cold water burning more calories, yes, about 13 calories, not that big a deal, right? But it also weakens the digestive system. You don't need to put ice cubes on top of a furnace that's trying to break down food later in the day, all right? So let's do this. Warm water or hot water in the morning. Squeeze in a full lemon or at least half a lemon, ideally a fresh lemon. That's what works best because you get the natural enzymes. And you can leave it there. Or you can begin to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar. How much? A tablespoon. 2 at the most. Okay? We're talking about 6 to 8 ounces of water. That's the minimum. I would recommend 12 ounces of water, maybe even 16. But start with 8 to 12, okay? Find out what your body can tolerate in the beginning. Then you'll be able to drink more as you go on. Okay, so keep it at that. I talk about other ingredients that you can add to it inside of Fatlocity, but that's a great start. Do that. Keep it simple. That's your hydration to start the day. The enzymes from the lemon, the acidity first from the lemon, it's going to help to open up those bile ducts in the liver. It's going to start to move that lymphatic system. Remember, when lemon comes into the mouth, it's acidic. It's acidic in the stomach. As it moves through your body, it actually becomes alkaline. Now, why does that matter? We don't have to worry about pH of the blood here today. What we're talking about is at tissue level, there's more potassium. And potassium is an alkaline-based electrolyte or mineral. All right, that's number 1. Number 2 is this. Super important. Move your body. Yes, I talk about this all the time. In Ayurveda, you're not going to push past those exercise plateaus unless you move your body. Now, they basically did yoga for everyone. And I talked about this on a previous show. But their sun salutations, their asanas, they would fly through them. They would do them vigorously with people that needed to lose weight. And then the opposite side of the spectrum, more of the ectomorph rather than the endomorph or the kapha, right? The kapha body type or kapha accumulation. We'll talk about that in a minute. Vata would go through them very slowly, working on their breath, slowly easing through. Kapha body type, endomorph, they would get that body moving to work up a sweat. And they would do it earlier in the day. Why? To wake up the metabolism right away. Get the body moving, circulate the body, tap into glycolysis, type into lipolysis. So we're burning blood sugar if there's additional in the bloodstream, and we're also burning body fat. Okay, move that body. If we need to lose weight, ideally it's earlier in the day. Unless there's adrenal issues, unless there's low thyroid, again, that's a different story. You need to run your stress mood metabolism test, thyroid adrenal hormone, same test, if you'd like to find out those numbers. But if not, move that body at least 30 minutes, get it going. Cardio, body weight exercises, high intensity interval training. Don't burn yourself out, but we need you moving that body. If you really want to lose weight, more days than not, almost every day of the week. I always give everybody a day off, but if you need to lose weight, you don't need to crush yourself in any one workout. You just need to move daily to stoke the metabolism. Think about it. You're putting more logs on the fire. The fire gets bigger the more you exercise. Now you can actually start to use more of those calories and carbs that you eat. All right, the last part to the flushing, and it's going to start to make more sense now. In Ayurveda, especially when I was in these clinics, well, especially in Sri Lanka, we did vigorous massage, sometimes with actual spices like mustard seed. And you could see the skin turning red, but we would use a dry powder. They don't do this in the United States, but a dry powder to vigorously move the lymphatic system. You keep hearing me talk about the lymphatic system because when it's congested, we start to build up cellulite. When it's congested, we get sluggish. That's more of that endomorphic quality. We start to get bogged down with fat accumulation in the lymphatic system as well. So we did vigorous massage. Again, you can do, these are basically all free, right? I mean, lemon water is basically free. You can exercise at home, basically free. You can give yourself self-massage. Use sesame oil or use, not coconut oil because it's more cooling. You could buy a kapha oil, Kapha. through a great company and Ayurvedic company and just move that lymphatic system. I mean, again, I like lymphatic massage, which means move towards your heart. If you don't know what lymphatic massage is, you can just simply go to stephencabral.com/podcast, type in LYMPH, lymph, and you'll find a bunch of shows on that. Okay. So that's great. If you can't do that, can't do the self-massage or get a massage, rebounding, if you don't have a little trampoline jumping up and down, if you don't know what that is, again, you can look it up on the show notes. But also, you could simply jump up and down in place. It would work to get the body moving. But then, if possible, do a steam or do a sauna. Talked about this before, previous shows on these things. Don't want to spend a lot of time on it today. But what we did was we got the lymphatic system moving. I talk about this in my book as well. And it's basically, we get things revved up. So we're moving the body, we're massaging the body, and then after we got things mobilized, we sweat it out through the skin. Because remember, a lot of the times people have gained weight, it's because of toxicity. Toxic water weight, toxic accumulation. What's an easy way to get rid of it? Drink a lot of fluid, move the body, and then sweat it out. Right? And if you sweat it out, it's going to come out, a lot of those, through your pores. We know now through proven science that heavy metals come out through your sweat. Mold toxins come out through your sweat. One of the best ways to get rid of mold is through sauna, through sweat. So you can do an infrared sauna, you can do a Finnish-based sauna, you can do a steam as long as the water has been filtered that you're breathing in. Amazing way. So that is flushing. Water comes in, we move the body, we sweat it out, and then we get rid of a lot of that toxic accumulation. Again, do your quarterly detoxes, just like Ayurveda talks about, the functional medicine detoxes, but the first three principles hold true. How often should you do them? As many days a week as possible, right? How quickly do you want to burn that body fat? As many days a week as possible. And that's exactly what we did when I was over in my internships as well. All right, number 4 is this. It's a great way to be able to deal with stress that may be causing some of your weight gain-based issues. So we know that higher levels of cortisol can begin to raise blood sugar, can begin to raise insulin, which can store body fat. We also know higher levels of stress and cortisol can begin to lower thyroid hormone and cause estrogen dominance. So again, shows on each one of those. I'd love to be able to go through each one of the topics today. I want to stick to Ayurveda today. But by starting your day with 5 to 10 minutes, or it could be after your workout in the morning, could be inside of your sauna, 5 to 10 minutes of quiet relaxation, focused on the breath, focused on calming the nervous system, will allow you to better control your cortisol levels. And then that will better enable you to boost thyroid, better enable you to also not have elevated levels of blood sugar, which is key, right? We talk about the 5 factors with weight loss. You can simply go to equilibriumnutrition.com/fatlocity, and you can just read the 5 factors of weight loss. If you have never heard of that before, you can go back to previous podcasts as well. I know I'm saying that a lot today, but there's so much information, and I want you to have it all, especially if you're a new listener to the show or you're not listening on a daily basis. There's so much information. There's no silver bullet. So what I want you to do is have the full picture. When you have the full picture, you can either take it or leave it, but you at least know, unbiased-wise, what to do. All right. The next one is this. One of my favorites. Talk about it, and really it holds true. We have to control blood sugar. We have to get the body moving. One of the best ways to do both of those is to go for a 20-minute walk after each meal. So if you could only choose one, it would be after your largest meal. That's when you would take your walk. But if you're not able to do that at lunch and that's your largest meal, which it should be, then you'll take your walk after dinner. Walking after dinner is still one of my all-time favorites and should be up there. And the reason is this, is that you need to go to bed with stable blood sugar. And we know that people who walk after a meal have less of a blood sugar spike, and they call it less of a postprandial, just after meal, glucose level. So meaning that if your blood sugar typically spikes to 180, well, it might only rise to 130 or so, and then it falls back down within 2 hours, back below 95, which is where I want it. Again, you can test this for yourself. This is all scientifically proven. So what it means is this. You could, one night after dinner, it has to be the same exact dinner, you could take your blood sugar a half hour later. What is it? Okay, but then what you could do is after dinner, go for that 20-minute walk or so, take your dog out, go with the whole family, go with your spouse, get out there, move that body. It will also help you with sleep at night because it's a relaxing walk. This is not a power walk. This is a relaxation-based walk. Then you can take your glucose levels as well after your walk. right? So you'll be able to prove it to yourself. Listen, this really does work, and it helps you get to your 10,000 steps per day. Super important. Big, big advocate of that. All right. We have our last, but never least, and that is never underestimating the power of sleep, but not just sleep. People say all the time, okay, get your 8 hours of sleep a night for weight loss because it's going to help with blood sugar. Absolutely. Again, it goes back to estrogen dominance, cortisol, thyroid and hormones. If I don't already mention the glucose-based levels, and it goes to thermogenesis, like how big is that fire that you're creating in your body to burn calories? Because remember, we all know that you have a friend, everybody has a friend, right? And they can eat as many carbohydrates as they want. They're the same height as you. They weigh less. They never gain weight. What is that, right? Their furnace, their fire, their metabolism is just much higher. That's it. They burn at a faster rate. While your thermogenesis can also be improved with certain herbs and with the flushing principles we're talking today and moving your body. So here's the thing though. Sleep, obviously, is crucial. Why? Those people, they get less than 7 hours of sleep a night, wake up typically with higher levels of blood sugar. If you wake up with higher levels of blood sugar, that means you were not tapping in to the maximum amount of body fat every single night. Now remember, when you sleep overnight, that is actually the time that you're tapping into the greatest percentage of body fat. Now, is it the greatest amount? Probably not, but it's the greatest percentage, and it's your time to take advantage of that. Okay? It's your time to work on detox. It's your time to work on all of the toxic-based water weight that's swelling the body, that's making the body look softer. But there's a caveat to this sleep, okay? About 8 hours is perfect, right? 7 to 9 hours is great. That's the amount that we need. Not less than 7, not more than 9. That's going to make you more sluggish too. Could even lead to some weight gain. Certainly not good for the heart. Not good necessarily for blood sugar as well. But the hours also have to be, if we're again, we'll talk about doing our best in just a moment. But the hours should be between 10 and 6 or 9 and 5, okay? So going to bed between the 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. hour, that's the sweet spot. Cortisol is at its lowest for the day around 9:30 p.m. People start to get a second wind after 10 o'clock as cortisol begins to slightly rise again. That's why we have to get our body in bed, put on those blue blocking glasses, get rid of the blue light so we can get into bed. We can actually be a little bit tired. If not, use the deep sleep protocol. Do something to get you into a new sleep cycle. And then you'll be able to wake up 8 hours later, hopefully feeling well rested. Again, it takes 2 to 3 weeks to get into a new sleep cycle. And if you are someone that's going to bed at midnight right now or 1 a.m., every single week, just work back by 15 minutes. If you're going to bed at midnight, start going to bed at 11:45 p.m. The next week, 11:30. The next week, 11:15. The following week, 11. You've already now in 1 month, you've already worked back your sleep time by 1 hour. And that more hours before midnight is crucial to your overall health, well-being, longevity. Again, we have many studies that show those people that stay up late or work that night shift and don't produce melatonin at the right time, higher chance for all-cause mortality and all sorts of different health-based issues. So 7 to 9 hours is the sweet spot for sleep, but it's really between 9 and 5 in the morning or 10 and 6. So I want you to look at that as well. And that allows you, again, if you go to bed earlier, it allows you to wake up a little bit earlier. You can plan out your meals. You can do your workout in the morning, a little time for meditation. You could do a sauna if you have a sauna at home. If not, you can jump on a rebounder. You can give the self-massage takes 5 minutes. That's it. You can move that lymphatic system. You could also use a dry brush. A dry brush is huge. If you didn't want to do an oil self-massage, just use the dry brush. If you've never heard about a dry brush, again, head on over to stevencabral.com/podcasts and just type in dry brush and you will find my shows on that. Okay, so I gave you 7 steps right there. Fairly straightforward, right, of what you can do. You can do these things. That lemon water in the morning, warm or hot water. The exercising on a near daily basis for about a half hour, 40 minutes. Okay, sweating, right? You need to sweat. Sweat during your workout or get into a sauna, get into a steam, sweat it out. Even if you can only do it once a week, even if you can only go to your local Y or a gym to get that sweat in, get it out. Move those toxins out of the body. Super important, right? Do your seasonal detox with that. And then also, just a little time for quiet relaxation to begin the day and end the day. Control cortisol and stress. Working on Oh, I didn't even give you this. I did not give you this. Okay, we need to go over the last part. So we talked about moving a little bit after each meal, and we talked about going to bed between the 9 and 5, 10 to 6 hour. But this is key. Ayurveda says for weight loss, and I'm glad I have my 7 bullets here. Ayurveda says for weight loss, no snacking between meals. Let me repeat that. In Ayurvedic medicine, we never gave people food between meals. I've talked about this multiple times on the show as to the reason why. You need to allow, especially for people that are more prone to gaining weight, they have more issues with blood sugar dysregulation and insulin desensitivity. So that means their cells don't draw sugar into the cell like they should, because insulin, or your cell receptors, or at least are kind of giving a quiet ear to those receptors. So what we need to do is this. We need a 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or 10 o'clock or so breakfast, whatever you decide works best for you with your intermittent fasting, 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock or so lunch, and then a 5 to 6 o'clock or so dinner. I gave you this, and I'm actually going to give you, this is important. So I'm going to actually share with you the show that goes in depth on Ayurvedic food timing that I would recommend tuning into after this show. And that was episode 1427. So you can head over to stevencabral.com/1427, and you can learn about times of the day to eat, intermittent fasting, should you skip breakfast or not, but also why you need to go the 4 hours minimum between meals to allow the blood sugar levels to fall down to a healthy level so that you start tapping back into body fat. Because if your blood sugar is always elevated, you are not going to be burning body fat at the optimal level. And that includes with your workout. If your blood sugar is elevated during your workout, you're going to tap more into the sugar rather than the body fat. So remember, keep those blood sugar levels stable. And what I want you to do is make sure that it's no more than those 3 meals per day. And on that show, 1427, it goes into what meal should be the largest, what meal should be the smallest, etc. So hopefully today's show was helpful. I love talking about Ayurveda. I could talk about it all day. I could go in depth on any single one of these, which is what I tried to stay away from today. So hopefully you'll be able to go back into previous shows, get a little bit more in-depth knowledge if it interests you. And of course, if the show was helpful, please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stevencabral.com/resources.